my microphone engaged here, and I just want to confirm that you can hear me. My system has been circling. I think we had someone else that was logged on. There we
Hello, this is Adana. I can hear you.
perfect,
Perfect.
perfect.
Let me take my
Wonderful.
video off. On. Put
Perfect.
it on.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Oh, it's good to see you. Good to see
Hey,
everyone in the room.
good to see
Now,
I'm
you.
before we get started, do I have your authorization to use this recording in the school so that others can see it? I don't know if everybody's going to get
absolutely.
logged in. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me know when it's a good time to jump in.
It is a good time.
Okay. Well, I'm really excited to be here. I remember as soon as the invitation came to me, I thought, "Moi, what would I have to share? Um, and how would this opportunity be meaningful for someone, given the industry that I'm in?" And as I prayed about it, I decided, God never, and I'm a grateful believer in God. And so most of what I
Mhm.
share will come from the context of a person that is a believer in God and a faith. I took a journey by faith to enter into this industry, and I believe that it is God who is keeping me and sustaining me here.
Mhm.
And so, to just begin, I'm not sure exactly how much time I prepared. 15, 20 minutes.
That's perfect.
Okay. And so, if you would go with me, I want to encourage us by sharing a topic. And here is the title of what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about from vision to victory tonight. Okay.
Mhm.
From vision to victory. I've been tasked with sharing some of my wins, some of my losses, how I've been able to scale and grow with intentionality this business in the industry that I've now found myself to be in. And so, before I move forward any more, I want to formally introduce myself to you. My name is Marlene King. I am. Have been a entrepreneur. I've operated in the entrepreneurial space probably for over 20 years, but more specifically in this particular industry for the past 15 years. Wow. I never thought that I would have been in this industry, first of all, for so long,
Mhm.
or that I was going to be in this industry at all. However, here I am 15 years later, having gone through many different iterations of employment, many different iterations of purpose moves, many different iterations of business opportunities. But the one that seemed to have stuck the most was this one. What type of industry is this? Bail bonding. I know it's a nasty, dirty, subtle kind of word for some people, but when I introduce you a little bit further to what it is we do here at Compound Bail Bonding, and that's the name of my business, um, I hope that you are able to take away from this type of industry the passion, the purpose, the vision, and the victories that you can have, and perhaps enjoin, encourage someone else to become a part of it or to consider it as a part of your journey. As I said, I have been in the bail bonding industry for the past 15 years. It actually began with me taking the business over right after I got out of grad school. I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always had a passion for business. Like I always knew that inside that ownership was the only ship. If I hear anybody else with this, it has already been been branded. But this is my tagline: that ownership is the ownership. So you might as well get on the ship and float. That's what I tell anybody who decides that they want to get into the entrepreneurial space. That's my tagline. And so I knew that for me, that working for someone was not going to be my end, that I would have to take ownership of my own self. I was a single parent, raising two children. And as a single parent, I thought that that was a negative, but God allowed it to work in uh, as a blessing to me, because it actually, I was always ambitious, but it gave me an extra drive and an extra push in the entrepreneurial space. And so if any of you that are listening out there that may think that because you're a single parent or you have small children, and here's why I can't, and if the background noise, it's because I'm in my space, I'm in my environment, so please forgive me. um, but if you think that having small children or being a single parent, or that you're a female, that you're a Black female, that you're a woman of color, any of those things that you perceive as being a negative, I'm here to tell you and encourage you that God uses those very same things as positives, and literally help to push you along the way, right? There and I never thought about it until maybe about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, um, when it came to me that every single facet, every single aspect of my journey, my entrepreneurial journey, was really handcrafted by God. So from vision to victory. I believe, in addition to the fact that that God is the one that orchestrated my victories and my wins, um, that in addition to this, that one of the most salient points, I should say, one of the biggest realization for me was understanding that the industry, or just being an entrepreneur in on a whole, was not something that was predictable, right? And that was off-putting for me, because I'm very structured by nature. I'm very controlled by nature. I'm very focused, very driven. But bail bonding in this industry, you have to be able to step outside of all of those things. So I was learning a new armor to fight in and to walk out this journey. And it initially it was difficult. And so I made quite a number of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes because I was very rigid in my process. I made a lot of mistakes because I was very structured in my processes. I made a lot of mistakes first 2 3 years, because I did not realize that the growth of the business, the wins that would come from the business, generated from me, the individual, because I am the brand. Which brings me to my second point.
Did we lose you? Can you hear us, Marlene?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Um, and which brings me to my second point, which is the fact that um, these mistakes that I thought that were happening and continue to happen, that ultimately these mistakes were also win.
I'll give you a second to come back on. Marlene, I think we lost you. I'm texting you now. I'm not sure if you are aware that we lost connection. Okay, maybe she's going to go out and come back in. While we're waiting for her to come in, we've got Felisa Moore with us from Forevermore Real Estate, and so many other things. She's also running for public office right now down in Marengo County. She's a 20-year veteran at abstracting. Okay, Marlene, there you are. Well, we lost you again. Okay, so Felisa, if you want to go ahead and get started, Marlene sounded like she was just getting to the meat of things, and I would love to hear the rest of that story. I don't know what her timeline is like because, as she mentioned, she is a Bell's bondsman. So, she's in between clients, and there
Yes.
are a lot of them. But Marlene, excuse me, Felisa, if you could go ahead and start, maybe Marlene would have
Yes.
more.
And
Okay.
I appreciate it because you may lose me because I am traveling back from Atlanta
Oh, no,
tonight as well. But I am Felisa Moore, Evangelist Moore.
forgive
I
me for
have
that.
been in the abstract industry for 20 years. Sister Battle was my mentor, my teacher, my prayer warrior. She was all of those things. I was under her umbrella for so long and still have over the years called on her. I am also an entrepreneur. I own my own bail bonding company. I own my own real estate brokerage, and all of these things stemmed after my teachings from Sister Battle. I would not be, and I won't take light of that at all. God not placing her in my life and her taking me under her wing and pouring into me. It's important to understand and know who's pouring into you. She's somebody that pours into you and don't mind pouring it all. She don't pick and choose what she's gonna pour. She shares all of her knowledge with you. Because of that, I am now fixing to run for, I'm qualified actually, and now campaigning to run for Revenue Commission in Marengo County.
Excellent.
I am very, very busy. I think sometimes busier than my husband would like for me to be, but it has what she has poured into me and the energy that I put into what she's poured into me have caused me to have the lifestyle that I have. It's humbled beginnings because she taught me out the mud. I come out the mud from what I've learned and what she taught me, and I will be forever indebted. She will forever be a part of my family and a part of my entrepreneurship reasoning. She's the one that taught me, and I love her. I love her to death. I love her spirit. She's poured into a lot of other business owners, even within my area, that's within my church. She's poured into those ladies as well. You definitely have a very informative instructor. And the thing is too, she's spiritual with it. You getting it all. You got the as they say, the bed in the bag. It comes with everything that you need. Because sometimes you don't want the school curriculum. You don't like Marlene was saying, single parent and going through, it may not even end up being classwork that day. It may be simply her pouring into your spiritual man. So I am so proud of this organization and this schooling and what she's doing, because if you got a piece of it, you better hold on to that coattail. Don't turn it loose. Hold on for dear life, because I promise you what she's gonna pour into you will benefit you long term. And I will attend on other times where I do have more time. I'll get with Sister Battle to where I can get, because I had trouble getting in and logging in, and again I'm traveling, so I do know when I hit these rural areas I'm going to lose you. But I want to thank her for the opportunity to even be able to talk and speak with you, and just give you a briefing. I've been a bail bondsman owner for 11 years, abstracting 20, real estate broker for 3, real estate agent for 5. And again, I'm a piece of the peeling from her. Just very many that she's poured that layer into. So again, Sister Battle, my hat off to you. Blessings to you, overflowing to you, God's abundance in everything you touch to you. Is You have no idea of what you've poured into so many women, and I'm blessed because of you, and I thank God for that. I thank God for you and your family, and what you doing. You yet pouring in. Here 20 something years later, you still pouring. You still pouring. So that tells you all something too. If she's still pouring, I am a 20+ year veteran of her pouring, and if she's still pouring, just imagine what God is doing with her cup, what he's doing with her right now, that she's still out here pouring and building entrepreneurs. Like the young lady say, sweetie, I'm here to tell you, you don't get the slack and lack and say, well, I can do this little bit. Not with Jacqueline Battle, you can. You got to give it all. She gonna pull what you didn't even know was in you out. So if you have the opportunity and the blessing of being able to get to know her and be in her presence and be in her teachings, open yourself up and set your cup out. It can definitely be filled. Definitely be filled. And I love you all. God bless you. I pray that you get what you're looking for in this setting. I look forward to coming back, to give more. And anytime I can be of any assistance to you, she knows how to reach me. I'll make sure that my contact is in my profile. Um, I'm here. And again, I love you, Sister Battle. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me and my family. Thank you so much.
Blessings to you, Felisa. You listen. You almost got me over here in tears because I remember when I would.
Yeah, those were the
Listen,
good
I
old
was
days.
also there. You remember when you got the baptism of the Holy Ghost in the living room?
Yes, ma'am.
all the way, all the way back then. Listen, every time I watch you and see what you're doing, I'm just grateful. You're going to be in our prayers for this upcoming election. I just believe that it's already done. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful that I was able to be of any assistance to you. And I do want you to come back because there's so many other stories that you can provide. We've got a real estate broker who is a member of our school so far, and I think he's going to be bringing in some other people that are going to be members. He hasn't been in the business as long as you have, so it's going to be inspiring to him to hear your story. We've got some aspiring
Amen.
abstractors that are here. It's going to be nice for them to hear your story regarding the training and how things went. So yeah, we're definitely looking for you to come back.
Amen. And I want them to know this is not a 2-figure, 3-figure, 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure business. This is a business. This 7 figures. You just
That's
got to put the time and the work
that's right.
in. It's there, but I mean, it's definitely going to take some time and energy and work. You got to be ready to put it in. And again, I look forward to coming back, and I thank you all for having me.
Thank you again. I'm going to speak to them even a little bit more. So if you happen to slip out, I understand, but I thank you so much for being here, guys. I just want to say I'm overwhelmed. I wish Felicia could stay with us, but here's the thing: I know she's forever busy. Like you heard her name all of those businesses that she has, and they're all functioning well, and they're all profitable. Rachel, I believe, well, I know you know Felicia. Yeah, and you remember when she started, when in one part of it. Miracle, you're also You've been in the abstracting with business with us over two. So before we got to you, Felisa, Miracle worked for us in Warner Robins, Georgia. That was eons ago, right? But she had not gotten into the business for herself. She was just admin for us. So now she's training to actually be in the business herself. Adana Wilson is you see her name there. She's chief of staff over at Oakwood University, chief of staff to the. You explain your position because I don't want to explain it incorrectly.
No, you did well. I am the chief of staff at Oakwood University, so I work in the president's office, and I help with all of the daily operations, the day to day, and the overall operations for the university. And I just work with everyone in almost all the capacities, with the exception of faculty, of course.
Right, and she has some people that they're attending the school, but they're from down there in Marengo County, so so we're gonna have to wrangle some voters. Absolutely for that. Adana, I know you were not planning to do this, and if you're not comfortable in doing it, we can always do it another time because I understand how you are very organized. So this may not be, but can you mention, I'm coming around to everybody. Miracle, Rachel, can you just sort of briefly mention what it is that you are expecting to get out? Well, I know you're taking a separate course from me.
Mhm.
What have you gotten from the separate course? That the school, of course, is just it's an open opportunity for the community, for whomever to join. There's no fee involved, but you do have one of the courses that I offer. What
Mhm.
what are you getting from it?
Well, I am attending the Easy Corporate Comprehensive work session, and I have been enjoying it. I have been challenged with a really hectic schedule. So I know Miss Battle, Mom Battle, you have been just such a diligent worker for me, been so helpful to me, and a really good guide and leader. There's many times where we go over several different things that are mentioned within the book. Currently, I am I have my own company, and she has helped me get to this point, which is such a blessing in itself because that's not something I would have probably ever thought of independently. And so, like when Miss Moore was saying about pulling things from places that you didn't realize you had, this is one of those things. And so far, I have a company called A. Wilson Enterprise Incorporated. And right now, I operate as a corporate strategy consultant, and I'm focusing on event planning. So at this point, but it will branch into different sectors. And I am just very thankful for some of these opportunities that I've been able to even get since starting my own business, working with different services that have taken place with funerals, maybe, or even different retirements and just a plethora of events that have taken place, and I've been able to walk some people through that process. From this particular course, I've been more so building the business structure of it, how to establish your business, how to register the name, how to utilize the Secretary of State to help as a guide or as a resource, and to be able to register within the state to become a vendor and be open to other services or other organizations, being able to partner with them, being able to understand the importance of partnering with the Small Business Development Center, and just being able to network and get your business out there. So being able to start from ground zero and just take it to unlimited heights. So this particular course is walking me through step by step how to establish my company utilizing the resources available that may not be as available to an individual person, but also that is available to the organization as a whole, because you have a corporation, or it depends on the different type of business that you establish. There are resources for each one. So I am just very thankful to even be open to that. And so this particular course helps me go through each step by step, and just being able to take my ideas, my thoughts, my passion, my love to the next level.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. That was a lot. And I'm so glad. It's good to hear. Okay, so I'm not going to get sentimental, but again, like she just mentioned to you, Felisa Moore just mentioned to you that this was years ago that I started with her, over 20 years ago, when we started together. and she has been able to do all of this. You know, the real estate company, the Bells Bonding Company. You know, she's her own real estate brokerage and her abstracting company. The abstracting company that we started years ago, she still does it. That's a lot. So my last question to you, Donna, I'm not going to ask you anything else because I know how you are. So, but given that you've stated all of that, do you see she's got that long term history that's there? When I pour into people, I'm pouring in because I'm looking to see the longevity. I want you to understand that your corporation is perpetual. You know, people sometimes they feel like when things plummet because, you know, things are going to go up and down. You can go from multiple millions one year to a couple of 100,000, or maybe not even hit 100,000. And some people can feel as though they're out of business, but as long as you have a corporation, you're not out of business. So I'm going to get somebody else, but I'm coming back to you to ask you about what your thoughts are in terms of longevity. Rachel, are you up to speaking just to talk about what you've gotten from the school? Again, is a free community. There's no fee that's involved. I'm going to try to provide as much quality information as possible. But in the service that you have from me that's not free, the course that you paid for, what are you getting from it? I see Marlene is back. So as soon as you finish, we'll let Marlene jump in.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Jones. I actually am getting some of the similar things that Mrs. Wilson is getting as well from the class. I'm learning about the corporation and also how to raise capital, different vendors and different investors that can also participate in helping me grow this as well. So I'm learning things that I probably wouldn't have learned otherwise of just talking to other people or reading other books. But with you, you're breaking things down point for point for points. And that's very helpful in this season when I'm just starting my company. I've started it on April of last year, which is True Mark Service Incorporated. And I'm trying to do a multiple of things. So being able to have that one-on-one with you, being able to reach out to you outside of even the classes, like I can just text if I have a quick question or a quick concern with what I'm doing outside of that. So it's other things inside of the company that I'm doing, notary, learning abstracting. All of the things are so great, and I love how you teach it. I love how you're very intuitive and patient and kind, and just willing to provide information there. So I appreciate you. Thank you so
Scott.
much.
Praise God. Y'all, most of you miss Felisa as she spoke, but I believe this is being recorded. So if so, I'll edit it and so that everybody can get the full extent of it. But Marlene is back now, so if you could continue, Marlene. Do you remember where you left off?
Oh my goodness. I think
Like
I
two.
was
Point number two.
working at point number two. I think it was uh, that don't worry about your mistakes. I believe I was saying something relative to that. Thank you so much, Miss Wilson, for keeping me on task. Um, I had to create a whole new password to log back in, so I really apologize. But so another thing that I really want us to become familiar with and not become fearful about are those mistakes that we learn early in business. Those mistakes actually help me to develop networks. They develop with part individuals who have ended up serving as partners for me. Those mistakes allowed me to be able to grow my business in a way that did not anticipate initially. For example, one of the ventures that I was able to branch off into in 2018 was to focus on reentry services for individuals coming out of incarceration. And so I'm just going to reframe again. My industry is that of bail bonding. Bail bonding is an old industry in that the United States decided that a way to assist individuals who had been incarcerated was to provide them with bail. It used to be back in the old days that you had to have a certificate of deposit that had to be presented in order for an individual to be able to come out of jail. But to make it more fair and financially fair for individuals who had to come up with funds and the monies to get out of jail, um, um, the system changed to allow individuals to serve as their own um, um, bond maker, so to speak, and to as long as they had the cash and the money, that they would be able to get themselves bonded out. And we can talk about the history of that. Time has elapsed, but so I found myself in this bail industry, and I was not, this was not familiar to me. My background, I came from a completely different background. I was in social services. I also have uh, experience in ministry. And so to move from those two different lanes and then to find myself in the world of bail bonding was a huge growth, a huge leap for me, and but God allowed me to grow and to conquer and develop the skill set that was necessary to navigate all of that. Excuse me. And so some of the mistakes that I made um, that came naturally to me was that I was very trusting. And sometimes I felt that I was, beating myself up because of how trusting I was, and in being trusting and wanting to be a caretaker and a person that provided opportunities for everyone. It bit me, and I ended up having to pay out a lot of money early on in business, and so on the heels of that, it taught me that bail bonding is not just a service that we need to offer, but we also need to ensure that we were highly administrative. And so for me, those losses that I experienced financially up front led to me developing some systems that have helped me to grow my business. But it has become a model for most of the other companies in this area. I was the second Black female to ever own a bail bonding company in Huntsville, Alabama, in Madison County. Excuse me, when I started. And, people were navigating the journey simply by, which is still being done, not a bad process. But I learned from it where we were just documenting information by writing it down on paper, and I decided to change that system and make it more succinct by investing in a database system, an online database system. Two, I invested money in developing a website which was interactive, and no one else had that in their arsenal. I developed relationship with the clerk's office, and by developing relationship with the clerk's office and the clerk administrators there, I saw how they carried out um, their jobs, their responsibilities, the tasks from day to day. And I implemented those same steps, strategies into my business. So now we were operating not only as a bail bonding company, but we were also on par systematically in terms of how we do what we do with the clerk's office. And it's very important to be in line and in harmony with the clerk's office, because the clerk is the go-between for the bonding company and the court. So I learned early in business that even with some of the losses that I was experiencing, that it allowed me to be able to take captive in my mind as to how best I can make what was happening as a negative become a positive. So that's point number two. Don't as they say, despise humble or small beginnings. Don't minimize the mistakes, because the mistakes serve as leverage for you for learning and for growth. Another point that I really want us to focus on is that as the entrepreneur and the visionary for your business, you're also the decision maker for your business. And because you're the decision maker for your business, you have to learn how to make hard decisions and to be able to stand on that. And we go through growth seasons of and cycles where, especially if you have not no business background, or this is your first venture, that decision making looks different corporate in the corporate world than it does in your home. Decision making looks different when in when you haven't necessarily gained the efficacy and the skill set that is necessary to interact with the persons in your particular industry. So what do? You learn the different aspects or components of your industry. So for me, for example, I learned that I had to develop relationship with judges, because even though the clerk is the go-between between the bonding company, the client we serve, as well as the court, the individual who actually stands, who has all the power, who we really need to have audience with, is the judge, not the clerk. And so I learned early as well, probably around year two, that it's just as important for me to develop relationship with the judges. And so I'm not sure what your industry, it might be education, your industry might be in entertainment, your industry, or an industry that you want to find yourself into. What might be retail, whatever it is, find the individuals that actually are the decision makers. And when you align yourself with those individuals who are the decision makers, the ones who actually are leading in your industry, you get the opportunity to hear firsthand what exactly you need to do. And then you can tailor it, to fit your particular business. So for example, there are, and instead of me calling any names, but on the circuit court level, so one of the things that I heard happening, sometimes I would just sit in the courtroom, and I'd hear the judges speak about all of the different options that they wanted to provide for the individuals, maybe because they were, dealing with addiction, or they were repeat offenders and they were homeless. They were dealing with homelessness, or they had family, whatever the issue is. And as I was listening, I heard the heart of the judge, and I said, aha, so I can align myself there, because I also have a heart for the people that we're serving, that are dealing with all of those issues. Because remember, I told you I came from a social service background and also ministry context. And so for me, my heart was right there with them. And to see and to hear that the judges wanted this to be a part of the growth of the individuals, that had found themselves caught in the cycle of the judicial system. I was able to get to take away from that and pay attention to the fact that this was a need. And because I realized that this was a need that the judges wanted to address, I then decided to incorporate that into my business, which led to the development of our reentry program. 2018, I decided to launch with a partner at the time a reentry program. We called it KAP. It's a hard K because, of course, the business is called Compound with a K, Compound Bill Bonding. And so it's KAP, a CAP. It's the meaning to represent the acronym actually stands for Compound Around People, because we realized that this was a compounding, most individuals were dealing with compounding circumstances. And if we were able to come alongside them and build community around them through the relationships with, like I said, the judges, the attorneys, business owners, et cetera, that we would be able to better support the individual that was going through the bail process, the judicial system, et cetera, et cetera. And so the sit in the courtrooms, hearing the heart, right, of the judges led to the development of a second business that was able to be launched, and that was that was CAP, or we call it Transitions, but it was really the corporation that covered transitions to business was CAP. And the corporation was created to build community around people. So that's the second lesson. Third lesson, and the other thing, fourth point that I want to bring out is that during these cycles of growth, me being able to connect with individuals so that it could help me vision and identify some other business opportunities. It also helped me to identify what are some internal deficits that I was dealing with, right? Because I said at the end of the day, you are the final decision maker, right? And one of the areas of deficits that I identified for me um, was that as much as I was a go-getter, I'm very aspirational. I am a very decided person. I was not comfortable being the decision maker for these businesses. And I realized that you know, I had to explore that. Why was it that I was not able to feel comfortable as the decision maker? And it hit me 6 months into the grand opening of Transitions, that one of the reasons that I didn't feel comfortable as being the final decision maker is because I was struggling with imposter syndrome. And so that is something else that I want you to take note of. That is a place of growth that I feel, to me, I haven't done the research. I have not studied it significantly enough to really speak authoritatively about this. But I believe that more women than men, right, tend to struggle with imposter syndrome, especially when you have made the decision that you want to operate and flow in the entrepreneurial space. Not that you don't have the capability, not that you don't have the dream or the vision, or God didn't give you the vision. There's just something inside of a woman that sometimes makes us feel as if we have to lean to or lean on a partner and not stand, flat footed on our own. um, and recognizing that the creator, the one who put the vision and the thought and the purpose and the value and all of that inside of you, has gifted you for that moment and this season, and you better stand flat footed because you deserve it. You're qualified, you're called to it. And so because like I said, about 6 months in, I started recognizing that that was an area of growth for me. Then I had to work on my mindset, right? I had to focus in and do some work to clear out within myself. What were some of the limiting belief systems, right? What are some of the value systems? What are some of the some of the things that I was holding on to that was hindering me from taking my rightful place and rightful position. And we could take a tangent and a side street down there, but because of time, we won't. Maybe next time we'll come back. But I want to challenge each of us that are on here, and even those who may listen later, that there is some internal growth that we all have to do as we're moving forward in this entrepreneurial space. And don't become fearful about it. Sometimes you might even have to partner with a mentor or someone who is way ahead of you in the area. I'm so grateful for the work that Mrs. Jacqueline Battle, is doing. And she's constantly resourcing. She's constantly pushing. You don't even have to ask her. I'm not, and this she didn't ask me to say these things. I'm simply suggesting to you that these are some of the meaningful takeaways that I have had from my interactions with her. And so, if you have not yet taken the opportunity or the time to connect with someone who knows more than you do, right? Who has been there in the space, or who might have the connections and the network, right, to push you forward. Those limiting belief systems, those mindsets that could challenge the actual growth, the expansive, the explosive growth that God wants to do in and through you through this business venture, will be minimized. I am so grateful to stand before you to tell you today that after 15 years, one of my main, it was a, it was, it was a, I still struggle with saying it. I'm stuttering, Lord Jesus. But it was a goal of mine to take this company to be to that of $1 million revenue producing business. It was just and I'm gonna tell you when it happened. One day, my dad, after his retirement, he said, "So when you gonna make your first million?" I felt that was a challenge that came and hit me in my gut. Y'all. And so I looked at him, I said, "I didn't know you had it in you to want me to even to excel in this industry." And so the moment he spoke it, it's like it ignited within me the vision again that God had given to me. And so victoriously, I did say we're talking about vision to victory, right? I want to declare to you that God systematically allowed me and afforded me to move to the $1 million mark in 2025. My first time. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it, from me not ever having any experience in this industry to now in my 14th year of business, God allowed me to move past $1 million in revenue. And I can say it. You know, I some the, imagine that I feel shame to say that out loud, right? And it was all by God's doing, right? So why feel shame? Again, the mindset, right? Those limiting belief systems, right?
Right, right.
And so, right? And so I really want to challenge us to work hard to clarify those things. How can you clarify them? You've got to go back to your core beliefs. Go back to your mission, go back to the reason, the purpose for why you exist, and be 100% sure that it is your job to protect your role and protect what God has given to you. If and since he has allowed you to build this business, right? And to grow the business, and you will experience growth. Yes, you'll have losses, right? I mean, every day in entrepreneurship is up and down. It's like a seesaw. Some days you feel like I got it, and then boom, just the hair on the camel's back. It didn't take the whole straw, just a hair, and then booms it. But by the grace of God, um if you go back to the core of who you are, why you, and you begin to clarify those things, God will help you to solidify. So that's how I was able to scale my business. I was able to scale my business because I constantly sought individuals who would help to inform and transform my thinking. I constantly revisited my core value system, my mission, my vision, my purpose for why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I focused on protecting my role when individuals or, colleagues, competitors, because in certain arenas it's colleagues, but in my arena with this business it's a competitor. They're competitors, and so when these individuals come and they seek to be divisive and not be motivational and come alongside to be an encourager or to just be a partner, I remind myself it is my job to protect and preserve what God has afforded me to build. Those are very important points, and not to be overlooked or to be minimized when it comes to scaling, because it begins here in the mind. If you don't think you can do it, you will not accomplish it. If you don't have the courage to see it, you will not arrive at it. If you allow someone else to infuse their passion and their purpose and their vision and their mission, it will never, ever work. So if you say, you know what, I want to become $1 billion industry, I only dared to say a million. I can only imagine where God wants to take compound bail bonding in the
Yes.
future.
Yes.
And I'm willing to vision with God. I'm willing to dream with God. I'm willing to explore all of what he has, and I plan to do that by being accountable to other areas like health, because really and truly, I was maxing out at one point. I was overdoing it. You know why? Because I was grinding. I was a part of the mindset that if I grind more, that I would get more. That did not lead to the scalable win that I experienced in
Right.
2025.
Right.
The grind culture may work for some people, and I don't knock it, but it didn't really work for me. And I get the sense that more women are more like me than not. And so, what I want to encourage us to do is to not forget to be accountable to yourself, right? And be accountable to someone else. That that changed my whole world. It changed everything. So instead of me working harder, I just began working smarter. I began looking at systems. This year, one of the things that I plan to do, because as I said, when I first entered this industry, most people were processing bonds and things of that nature just by paper and answering the call and pounding the streets. So I because of COVID in 2020, I completely computerized and systematized our processes. So now, whether there's an agent in the office or not, a person can be serviced with their bond. They just have to go online. We have the website is there, the bond process is there, information is there. You can chat with a bot on there. And next year, by God's grace, rather this year, I plan to implement a virtual 24-hour on phone assist, and make it specific to those areas that I see that are gaps in the services that we offer. Just keep dreaming, just keep thinking, pay attention to your business and what it looks like, and your
Right.
corporation will grow. Um, I'm not going to take too much else time. I talked about wins. I talked about losses. I talked about growth patterns. I talked about mindset. I talked a little bit about scaling and some of the frameworks, and that for me, grinding and hustling is how I started, but it's not how I'm planning to finish, right? I'm planning to use systems. I'm planning to partner myself with individuals who are leading in the financial industry, who are leading in entrepreneurial spaces, so that I can do better. My goal this year, God allowed us to be able to hit a million plus. I'm not gonna, a million plus last year. I'd like us to do it again this year. We've expanded into Morgan County last year. We plan to expand into Tennessee this year. Another way in which you scale your business
That's
is,
right.
and which means growing, is looking at pockets and areas in which other people either are not providing services and how you can fit and join yourself there, or you can do so by paying attention to what the audience is saying about what type of service you have, and then based on what your audience is telling you about your business, you can then take it and maximize what you are already doing well, or even what you're not doing well, because you can take what you're not doing well and make it what you are doing well. You get what I'm saying, y'all? Anyway, I know I'm a little country sometimes. I'll come back to being professional. Are we all together? um, and so, for the interest of time, I am going to close my thought by saying this every year I ask God to give me a word for myself, and as I kept thinking, I'm listening, I'm asking him speak and tell me what it is, what's the word that will help to hold me, feed me, sustain me for the journey for this year. And God, I heard it just as clearly as I heard that car drive past. He said, favor will follow you. And so, for you all, each of you that are listening tonight, or those who will be um, uh, replaying, watching the replay, I want to let you know that favor will follow you. And don't worry, don't be ashamed. It's not fair, but it's for you. And you know why it's for you? Because vision, God's vision that He puts inside of you, it will always lead to victory. And the victory can only be gained when God's favor follows you. Thank you so much for bearing with me and all what we went through tonight. And thank you so much, Mrs. Battle. This has been a wonderful experience.
Before you go, because I know you are super duper busy, I just want to say to you, thank you so much, and thank you for being persistent. I really thought when we had the problems earlier, I really thought that you weren't going to be able to come back, and I thought, oh my goodness, I know she had so much more to share with us, and you really what you shared with us was what I was looking for about your wins, your losses, your growth patterns, your method of scaling. You shared all of that, as well as some nuances regarding your experience, like how you engage certain systems and certain partnerships. And right now, I'm teaching that to a lot of the people that I'm working with. Um, Specifically Enchanting Designs, you heard her say that she just expanded. She just opened up into Morgan County, and she's going to pick some other counties. That's another way that you can scale the growth of your company. I've been teaching. So in my book, of course, we teach about every type of business format, but the format that specifically is good for companies that want to exist perpetually. They want to grow. They want to be able to sell stock. They want to increase and have that back end growth opportunity. You're not limited with a C corporation. There are some limitations when we choose S corporations, and a variation of the others. But this gives you an opportunity. So of course, I teach whichever way they choose to go. I can help them. But with a C corporation, I can teach them to engage with a boutique brokerage and be able to sell stock to vetted investors, so to raise money for their growth in that way. So when you talk about systems and partnerships, that's specifically what we teach in the course. I don't teach so much grinding because when I was young, way back when, um, I expended a lot of energy grinding. Did I make the multi-million dollar club? I did on multiple occasions. If you look on my wall upstairs, you'll see the plaques. I did that. But I left a lot of skin on the table. So I learned to use systems and partnerships. So when I heard you say that, and we can never negate the favor of God, favor will follow. I know it's true. It also follows when when we do what you do, like sharing with others, like what you came to do for us tonight. I am grateful. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions, but I do want to say this. Adana mentioned earlier some of the benefits that she's received from the course since she's been taking the course. And I'm grateful to hear that. Felisa, you missed Felisa because you were offline at the time. Felisa came on just to talk about how 20 years ago we helped her when she said the terminology she used was I was in the mud. And then 20 years later, like she talked about seven figures. Yeah, I can tell you she's the multi-million-dollar lady as well. Yeah. Yeah. So annually. So yeah. And but it comes from setting up those systems and those partnerships. I'm going to be quiet and see if anybody else has any questions that you want to direct towards Marlene while we have her here.
I'll just ask, as you continue to, I guess, develop your business and you were looking to, in a sense, I'm not sure, were you able to partner with other companies to be able to implement these systems? Or is it something where you just kind of came across some of the information based on your interaction with the courts or everything like that? Like what were some of the ways that you were able to find, or what were some of the resources that you used outside of maybe some of the ones that you've mentioned to be able to obtain this system or to implement the system?
That's a really good question. So reentry required more
Mhm,
partnership
mhm,
um, than, of course, bail, the bail system. So because of um, so some of the partnerships that I was able to leverage, again, they came as a result of relationships that I was able to negotiate along the way. I did not know that by accepting a part-time position in 2008, and I'm dating myself, and I do not care because I'm turning 50 this year, at on the 28th, and I feel fabulous. Um, but I some of the relationships that I developed in 2008, um with some of my professors coming out of a psychology program at a local university here, Alabama A&M, when I did my graduate studies. God allowed me to do well in the program and make relationships, and they invited me to come back to teach as an adjunct professor. Who knew that in 2018, 10 years later, I would start a reentry program? And because of the relationship that I had, they were willing to partner with me to allow the students from the psych program and the social work department to work under me as a therapist, right? In terms of allowing their students to provide or to be provided with training opportunities. So the students were used as, and we were able to take them into the court system and introduce them to the judges, and the judges were wowed at the structure God put in my head for this one-stop reentry program. And it began with the relationship that I was able to develop over time. So it was a part-time job, a little gig that I was using because, again, I'm a single parent trying to put money in my pockets to take care of my children. I thought it was a negative. I thought it was a deficit, but God used it for a win. It was a major win because then I was able to go back to them and say, "Hey, I have a business. We are looking to work with this population. Would you like to?" And year after year, for 3 full years, without fail, they just sent me the contract. "We want to work with you." We were able to work with their students. And that's just one example of a partnership that was developed out of of a relationship. Another partnership that came along, so we were able to actually step before the judge, walk into the courtroom, and share with the judge, "Hey, we have 600 people that are in that have that are in our that is in our program. And these 600 individuals are looking for this type of service. And we want to know whether or not we could advocate for them and get in touch with their probation officers and come and represent them. Because not only as a therapist, but I'm also an ordained chaplain, right? And so, because I'm a chaplain and a therapist, I have the ability to operate in those two veins. And because of that, God just weaved, allowed these different things that, I felt so disjointed at times because here I have this and that, academic training, etc., but did not realize that it was providing me with leverage,
Come
right?
on.
So don't despise any of the networking opportunities because they always turn into partnerships. These individuals, gladly, I was able to partner with Dr. Kenny Anderson. He became a good friend of mine. He taught me in school, but he was also able to see the work that was being done. So we went to him through the mayor's office and they gladly came and allowed us to. Do you see what I'm saying? And these are individuals in the community that have the ability to push your vision, the vision that he gave you through the relationship.
Thank you for that. In the course,
Absolutely.
I also teach that you network through joining different organizations, different affiliate memberships like the Chamber of Commerce, the small business
Black
development centers.
African American.
Yeah, NARAD. Yeah, National Association of Real Estate Brokers, but that's the Black brokers. National Social Real Estate Commission. Those are things that I put in the book. Also becoming vendors with the state. All of this is going to help you create partnerships because they're going to need people to serve on committees. That's typically a volunteer service. If there is a stipend, it's a small stipend. But what you're doing is you're beginning to network. I talk about how your net worth is specifically it can be in conjunction with your network. So when you set up your network, you're not networking with people that there's a certain type of network that you want to set up. And it's going to directly affect your net worth. And you don't wear your net worth on your sleeve. A lot of us do that with the flashy this, that. You can walk up to our abode and pretty much it's written all over everything that you have. That's not a wise thing to do because you might have heard her say earlier. In some businesses, you have competitors. They are not and in the business that I'm in, the abstracting business, title abstracts and title insurance, they are most definitely competitors there. And so you have to watch who you're partnering with. You have to watch the way that you're conducting yourself. So I want to say that to you early. As you begin to grow, you don't want to wear your net worth as it begins to increase visibly. What you want to do is learn how to build it. And we talk about that in the course, how to invest it, where you want to invest. I'm not licensed to do any of that. I can only teach you what my personal experience has been. Marlene, I'm just flowing over. We're going to have a few boutique brokerage agents to come. When they come, I'm going to make sure that you know about those times because they're the ones that can help you to get your stock out there, even though you're not public, and be able to sell it. We've had to do that on a couple of occasions, I know, along the years that we've been in business, but it'll help you with those lump sums. And when you're building and expanding, you get ready to get those buildings for the program that you told me about.
Yes.
And so I'm going to make sure that I invite you along with everybody else to come. I'm saying this to you this way because I don't know when you're going to have to leave. I want to tell you, is that Marilyn on your shirt? Now now
Yes.
listen, what you know about Marilyn? I got Marilyn everything. People don't understand it, but she was strategic.
Very,
What? Don't let the
very.
blonde hair fool you.
She knew how to work a room and she knew how to take what was inside of her to make moves for her,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
This was and as
yeah.
a woman in that time,
She made it
she's
work
she's
though.
I'm a fan.
We have a question here. Cicely is saying that her mic is not working. She represents Enchanting Designs Incorporated. She's
Okay.
saying, what are some of the red flags to be aware of as you network? What is some advice you would give as starting out?
Yeah, so as Mrs. Battle rightly said, in business, oftentimes you are facing competitors, right? And depending on what your context may be, you want to be collegial with everyone. But the reality is that collegiality may not serve you. So, therefore, or serve you well, rather. So you have to be mindful to hold close to you some of the visions and dreams, right? The ways you want to scale. There's a timing. Is a right time to share and a wrong time to share, because unfortunately there are so many ventures that um, I wanted to pursue, and I spoke them out loud, and someone took off with it before I could take off with it, or I started with it and they came alongside with me as a partner, and then they decided to embellish the truth and take the vision and the idea that God gave to me, um, and make it their own. And you know what? I could do nothing more than blame myself. Um, Sometimes we're so excited and we so want to share with people, what's in our hearts, like what we
Mhm.
want to do, and not realizing that the person that is in your, surroundings, that they want that idea too. They
Yes.
want to expand too. They know and see uh, the way that this thing could actually could be monetized and systematized, because maybe they have a little bit more experience in business and in the entrepreneurial space than you do. So I would say, number one, be careful to not throw or give too much of what you have been given or you see or you desire to do, away in conversation. Um, Instead, write it down and brand it.
There it
Make
is.
sure you brand it.
There it is.
Before you speak it, you brand it,
Mhm.
because they'll have to pay you for it if
That's right.
they walk out the door with it. And I know that sometimes, in Christendom, we have a challenge. We're challenged with taking people to the courts, but we're not challenged when people are taking us to the ringer and
Hello.
walking out the door with your coins.
Yeah.
What could be, and moreover, not just your coins, but the impact that you were supposed to have made in the earth, right?
Mhm.
So I would say that for me is a major note, that I would encourage anyone to take note of. Number two, and I like to give 3 points. I could tell you why, but I leave that for another day. Um, Number two, the other thing that I would say, when you're just starting out, is make sure you structure your business on paper. That means that all of the documents that you need to declare yourself as an entity, all of the, with the government, and, just all of it, structure, make sure that the structure is down pat, solid, down pat, cold. And the reason you want to do that is because it just helps it gives you clarity. You know what I mean? It really helps to be another one of those clarifying moments in your mind. And it also gives you a launch pad. For example, I remember having the conversation with Mrs. Battle where she introduced the notion of C versus S Corp, and I was a little hesitant because I'd always been told S Corp, S Corp, S Corp is the way to go. And I'm not here to tell anyone which way to go. But as she introduced to me some of the benefits of a C corporation, I was like, I don't think I'd ever heard about that. But as I looked at my paperwork and what I filed and what was already submitted and what how it could benefit me, I was like, you know what? This is something for me to consider. So that was my second point. Make sure that you have all of your paperwork, your documentation, um, put in order. And then finally, um, um, get make sure that you have an attorney, right? A legal team or some sort of legal advice that just as you would find a financial advisor, I would encourage you to find an attorney. And when you find the attorney, develop a relationship with that attorney because they will have your back, like way back.
Yes, they
You
will.
know, yeah, man, when individuals want to partner with you and you bring up their name, they'll research them for you and they'll tell you, I don't know, is this really where you want to go? My attorney has been with me now for the last 12 years, and he and I, he we're friends. We're friends. So those are my three points that I would say that I have found to be invaluable, and I would share, say to share with you, and and don't take it lightly. Don't talk your business with everybody, because at the end of the day, they're your competitor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't even teach everyone. There are specific people I won't teach. I hear them say, I want to start a business. I won't utter a tone because that's almost like an inner sanctum. It's maybe not your sacred space, but they get a chance to hear a lot of the things that you've taught. And the reason why I've been able to do this for
Absolutely.
decades, as the young lady mentioned earlier, when she talked about how long ago I was pouring into them, and then years later I'm still pouring in. Yeah, because we have to be selective. We have to use some type of discretion to know who you're going to take on and who you're not going to take on. But understanding how, that's why I talk so much about structure. Structure is important. I think everybody on here has this book. If you don't have this book, you want to get it. Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners. And of course, we're coming out with the second edition now. And thanks to Adonis, my strategist, thanks to her suggestion, we're going to add a workbook to it. The second edition is a hard copy. So it actually it's going to have the boutique brokerages in there. It's going to have the information about the different regulations in terms of being able to sell stock and not be a part of the SEC, things that we can do to make sure that we're within the regulations. I specify all the different regulations, and that teaching is also in the podcast. So I don't know how many of you get the podcast, but you can listen to that podcast while you're driving or whatever you're doing. It will help you with your growth. It may be an area that you hadn't touched on, you hadn't thought about, you hadn't considered regarding your scaling. It just runs. I don't even know how many recordings are in there. We're constantly adding them. We're doing it for information's sake, so that if you come up with something that you hadn't considered before, there may be a strategy that you hear in the podcast. But specifically, when you talked about how you structure your company, about writing things down and branding them, all of that is what we teach. To me, it doesn't exist until it's written, until it's branded. We take you through setting up your corporation. We walk you through all of it, not just how to manage and exist in the company, but how to grow, how to reach the heights that you want to reach. And then when we get you to a certain point, I pass you off to some folks that have surpassed what I've done. Then when they get through with it, they're going to pass you off to some folks that have surpassed what they've done. So you'll consistently be able to grow. That's the network that we have. Somebody's asking a question, and then I think this is going to be our final one. It says, that is so good. I asked because I heard you mention early you were very trusting in the beginning. Yeah, through experience, you pivoted accordingly. That hit home. Thank you for sharing. Oh yeah, yeah. And you don't have to wear your feelings on your sleeves. You can be associated with a person and they not know that you have understood that they're no longer in your circle. You never have to mention it to them. You don't have to change changing your personality is something we have to mature past that, because that's kind of pettyville. You just now, you have been made aware. That's all. Govern yourself accordingly. But you know, that's growth. Go ahead.
I completely concur. Initially, I used to get in my feelings, and I was like, "What? How could you do this to me? We were friends." And so, but I understood that that was also an area that I needed to grow in. And it was a hard lesson, hard lessons. But I'll also say this to you too, that in my 20s, I had a mentor, a lady that mentored me in grant writing. And I did not know that I would need grant writing, but the Lord allowed me to work for, you know, Madison County Commission right out of undergrad, and I ended up serving as a grant writer. And she used to say to me all the time, she used to say, "Little girl," you know, she was in her 40s or almost 50 at the time. And she used to say, "Little girl, I want you to remember, they may try to take what you do and they might try to do what you do, but they can never do it like you do."
That's right.
Did you hear me?
That's right.
Um, yeah, they
That's
may
it
try
right
to
there.
take what you do and they may even try to do what you do, but they can never do it like you do.
Never do
And
it.
that allowed me to straighten up my back just a little bit, and put a little pep in my step. And sometimes when I get down on myself, because I talked what was in my heart and I was excited to share. And then I saw the person, uh, you know, walk right out the door with the idea. Um, it has a way of quelling your spirit and causing you to ask God why and things of that nature. um but it also helped me to revision, and it also helped me to grow. And I've also learned that when it's not inherently a part of who they are, it doesn't last.
That's
It's
true.
not sustainable.
They don't have the passion.
They don't have it.
Mhm.
It's because it's not in them.
That's right.
So Cicely, don't even worry about whatever. You'll sleep better at night when you decide, I'm not going to worry about it, because God is growing you. He's making you better. And not only is he growing you and making you better, but the business venture that he called you to, he is the one that is going to make it larger than life and allow you to be able to eat from the fruit of your labor. That's what he has done in me. And I am a living witness and a testimony. I'm not anybody special, but I am special in his kingdom. And he decided to use me especially to do this work. And he's going to do the same for you, because you're the gift, you're the brand. He branded you, he took you and plucked you out so that you can be able to serve him and walk in purpose in this season of the earth's history. Don't
So
ever become let them. That's a good book right there.
yes, it is.
If you haven't found, just let them read the
Oh,
book.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
From vision to victory. Um, don't dispute humble beginnings. Don't minimize mistakes. Make the hard decisions. Time's gonna come for that often. Find the decision makers in your industry, the ones who lead, partner with them. Understand when we talk about that imposter syndrome, oh my goodness, the cognitive dissonance, we address that too in a couple of the courses that, because those cognitive, it's gonna, you can't get anywhere. So we have to learn how to overcome that, and that's an internal work. Protect your role, be accountable to yourself. That's very important. I want to say before we, just as we're getting ready to close out, that favor will follow. Man, that thing is all over me. So I start tomorrow with a new contract. I have been trying to get this contract. So First American Title Insurance. There are four major title insurance companies in the world, right? There are a lot of title insurers, a lot of title insurance agencies. four major. The third largest is First American Title Insurance. And I have been trying to get affiliation or partnership with this company forever. I have volunteered. I have done all kinds of work for them. I've sat on panels. They called me from out of the blue and they said, listen, this job has your name written all over it. And I know it's because of the grace of God. They think it's because of this title, Abstracting Made Simple. I know it's because of the grace of God. This is a totally different book than Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum. So Miracle, you would know this book, and Rachel, but Rachel has already left because Rachel is becoming a title abstractor. She's taking this course. And what they want is someone that can do their commercial abstracts on a contractual basis, but they want to have you there with them all the time to service out. So that means that's going to take me out of a lot of the things that I'm doing now for you guys. I'll still be able to meet with you at our regular course times. But now, in order for you to reach me, you won't be able to just call me and I'll be at your beck and call. I may be able to be at the county, or I may be in meetings with them, but I won't just be able to just take your call the way. So I'm going to have to change some of the things that I've had to do. But they also, in addition to that, want me to train their abstractors. So they have abstractors all over the nation. I just had someone to call me today who wants to get enrolled in Minnesota. He says, I bought the book. I saw the enrollment information. It says to email you for the link. I'm emailing for the link. So I'm just saying, I love this because all of the other things that we've done, we've helped other companies to form. We do a limited franchise agreement where we help other companies to build in their own name, doing some of the same things that we do. All of that is great. But to have this company that I have sought after for years pick up the phone and call me, it's like, Lord, I'm not ready to go home, but this is good though. This is good. This is good. So I say that to say, I may not
Congratulations.
be, praise God, praise God. Who did it? God did it. And to him we say, hallelujah. All right, guys. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to ask or share. If not, we're going to get out of here. I want to tell y'all, thank you so much for attending. I'm praying that this information is helpful to you all with your growth, with your building. That's what it's all about. When we get you to a certain point, then of course we're going to take you into growing your company laterally with the limited franchise units. You want to do that. So you have some of you all over the place. And again, strategically, you're scaling and not grinding. That doesn't work for everybody, and I never advise it. Everybody good? All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn this recording off. Let's see, and end the recording right here.